I gotta say, I feel for Christopher Sundberg and the folks at Avalanche Studios. I'm not gonna go over all the details, but George Miller's team and Warner Brothers have had a rocky relationship for a long time, and the studio behind the 2015 Mad Max game was caught in the middle of the conflict like a child of divorce. They were forced to scrap a year of work and start over, and the simple fact that this game exists is a testament to their professionalism. That it's a very, very good game is a gall-darned miracle, and now George Miller has publicly disowned it. He tried to phrase it as gently as possible, simply stating that it wasn't as good as he would have liked and he'd love to see Hideo Kojima take a crack at it. I've heard harsher criticisms, but there's no way Sundberg wasn't going to take that personally. Consider the fact that Avalanche took the fall for the game's weak sales, even though it was Warner's decision to release it against Metal Gear Solid 5. Mentioning Kojima has to be salt in the wound, courtesy of a dude you were once very excited to work with. Anyway, the game was originally planned to form a sort of trilogy with Fury Road and Furiosa. When that didn't pan out, you essentially had a game studio with a stack of notes and designs from Miller's team, but without Miller there to guide the project. The result is an oddity. It's packed with stuff that was there in the canonical lore of the Fury Road universe, revealing some of these characters and settings to the public about a decade before they would be seen in Furiosa. Basically, you're getting the licensed adaptation before you get the thing it's based on. I'm sure this isn't a comprehensive list. The game is packed with detail, and there's definitely a lot of stuff I missed. These are just some of the characters, settings, vehicles, and miscellany I was able to turn up in 3 or 4 playthroughs of this game, and tens of hours of randomly driving around the wasteland, killing time, and farting around. Scrotus. This one is pretty obvious. Immortan Joe's son Scrotus is the big boss of the Mad Max video game. You fight him before the opening credits even hit, and Max sticks a chainsaw in the dude's brain. In the video game, Scrotus looks more like his brother Rictus, and his personality is that of a murderous warlord. In Furiosa, he looks more like this.
Oh, I'm sorry, me?
His behavior in the film makes me think less of a raging psychopath and more like a glory-hungry military officer. Someone who's maybe seen limited combat and daydreams about being a revered commander, eagerly pushing for the most aggressive, bloody approach to any problem. Gas Town. We first glimpse Gas Town in Fury Road, a city built around an oil refinery. Furiosa gives us our first real canonical look inside the place. You can also see the inside of Gas Town in the comic books that served as a prequel to Fury Road, where the Thunderdome makes a return. In the video game, Gas Town is run by Scrotus, and it hosts these demolition derby type races, which are a fucking nightmare because of the rubber banding they use to keep your target a certain distance away from you at all times. Gastown also functions as a stronghold for Max, where you can hang around this little shanty town. We only see the city in bits and pieces here, where we get a sprawling overview of Gastown in the movie, so it's hard to say exactly how well these two versions of the location match up. The Demented Chariot. Dementus figures into the Mad Max game's storyline, but he doesn't appear in-game, at least not living. He's referred to as a biker gang leader who was killed in battle with Scrotus, and at one point you're sent to the tomb of Dr. D, where you find this muscle car with a motorcycle in the back and a skeleton strapped to it. This was likely based on sketches of an early version of Dementus' chariot, before they went with the 3 motorcycle rig. And while we're on the subject of Dementus' teddy bear. You remember the teddy bear that Dementus kept around his waist? It used to belong to his daughter? Check it out. That there is Glory, the girl from Max's visions, remember? She gets him to cover his head just in time to catch that arrow. And this was her teddy bear before it was Dementus's. This is Dementus's daughter. Chumbucket. Chumbucket might be my favorite character in the entirety of the Mad Max series. Now, at the time I'm editing this video, Furiosa isn't available on streaming, and I can't find any promotional shots of Chumbucket as he appears in the film, but he's played by this guy, Brian Probitz. In Furiosa, he's the guy who designs the original war rig, and he hooks Furiosa up with that 3-wheeled car to carry the darkest of angels into battle. He doesn't look much like Chumbucket in-game, but the personality matches. His love for rusty old pieces of shit, like Mike Hall on Rust Valley Restorers, because he can see the sculpture in the stone.
This one's cool. 4-speed Impala SS 62. It is cool.
Chumbucket regards the purpose of man being to service their vehicles, not the other way around, referring to Max as Saint, believing the road warrior to be an answer to Chumbucket's prayers to the Angel of Combustion, delivered to Chumbucket to pilot the customizable Magnum Opus car. Chumbucket ultimately gives his life to the cause when Max sends the Magnum Opus crashing into Scrotus. The fact that neither Chumbucket nor Scrotus are in Fury Road makes me think that this might be canon, more or less, and that's a bummer, but the Chumpster is somehow still with Mad Max in the post-game segment, assisting you as you finish up all your side quests and collectibles, so I guess it all worked out. You know, every single time a movie doesn't do that great at the box office, you get your usual gang of cum jar collectors announcing that it's because woke. Furiosa's 3 hours of monster trucks spewing flames out of every orifice and running into V8 muscle cars and Harley Davidsons welded to other Harley Davidsons. If that's not your idea of a good time, well, I think we've found our low-T soy boy.